Discover the breathtaking beauty of the Scottish Highlands, a travel destination you won't want to miss. Why travel to the Scottish Highlands? Although nothing is flawless, the Scottish Highlands' breathtaking scenery gets quite close. The more than 11,000 square mile area north of Glasgow, Scotland, is a real-life demonstration of Mother Nature's greatest magic, with a wide variety of geographical attractions that inspire unbounded amazement in visitors. The Highlands are home to lofty peaks, extensive lochs, untamed coasts with rip currents, and undeveloped, evergreen glens. The Scottish Highlands take off-the-grid travel to a whole new level with its vast mainland in 4 clusters of equally captivating islands kilometers off the north and west shores. Make sure to hit the follow button, give us a thumbs up, and leave your thoughts down below if you're new here. Make time for Scottish cultural experiences, even though you'll undoubtedly spend most of your time taking in the area's natural beauty. Visit a tasting at one of the many hundreds-year-old whiskey distilleries strewn around the region, including the renowned Lagavulin, or grab a pint at one of the many pubs, try some haggis, tour a castle, put on some tartan, or do any of the above. All of these activities are included in a lot of the greatest day trips to the Scottish Highlands. Additionally, if you're in town from early summer to early fall, look up the local Highland Games to see Scots participate in age-old local competitions while donning kilts. The Highlands will captivate you with its unparalleled beauty and strong adherence to its cultural roots with Scotland. Best things to do in Scottish Highlands. Determine what kind of experience you want to have before entering this wilderness, because that is the greatest strategy. If you want to go on an exhilarating hike, check out the hilly Cairngorms National Park or ascend Ben Nevis, the tallest peak in the United Kingdom. Visit Loch Lomond and the Trossachs National Park, stroll along the picturesque cliffs at Duckens by Head, or take a road trip to one of the area's numerous stunning beaches for low-level experiences. While those who value their time will appreciate the lush Glencoe or Eilean Castle, fantasy aficionados will enjoy searching for Nessie in Loch Ness. Whatever you decide to do, make sure a portion of your trip involves exploring the distinctive geography that makes up the Isle of Skye, which is frequently hailed as one of the most beautiful places in the world. Highlands of Scotland are home to magnificent sights. Consider joining one of the top Scottish Highlands tours for assistance getting to all of these lovely locations. Isle of Skye. Isle of Skye should be your first stop if you can only make it to one Scottish Highland location. Skye, the biggest island in the Inner Hebrides, is situated on the west coast of the Highlands. The island is bursting at the seams with surreal scenery. There is much to see on this island, but tourists and travel experts agree that you must see the Choiring, the Old Man of Storr, Neast Point, and the fairy pools before leaving. The Choiring is the ideal way to introduce someone to the fascinating geography of Skye. Stunning vistas of the surrounding landscape will greet you as you make your way down the Choiring. The path to a large valley of lush rolling hills, imposing rock formations, and alpine lakes is paved with cracked plateaus and cliffsides. The Old Man of Storr, a single pinnacle-shaped rock that stands out for its appearance and can be plainly seen from sea level miles away, is located 13 miles south. Glencoe. During your visit to the Scottish Highlands, you might hear the word glen used frequently. A narrow valley is known as a glen, and the Highlands are home to several of them. Glencoe is the most visited glen and one of the most well-liked tourist destinations in the Scottish Highlands. The central Highlands town of Glencoe is located 23 miles south of Ben Nevis along Loch Leven. The valley is frequently praised for its breathtaking scenery by tourists and residents alike, with many recent visitors calling its topography out of this world. The lush Glencoe Valley is neatly sliced through by the A82 roadway. Due to time restraints, many visitors claim to have simply driven through Glencoe, but many lament the fact that they were unable to spend more time exploring this breathtaking region. Fortunately, there are numerous viewing points along the highway, so even if you just have a short amount of time, you can still enjoy the gorgeous trip. If you do have the opportunity to visit Glencoe, you'll discover that the region provides fantastic treks and aquatic activities on Loch Leven. The popular Cuar Gabhail, or Lost Valley hike, is a 2-mile track that winds between several of Glencoe's Munros in a gorge of trees before emerging into an expansive, open valley hidden from the view of the roadway. Try the 5-mile-long Bois of Beag or the 7-mile-long Bidien Nam Bien if you wish to climb a Munro for panoramic views of the Glencoe Valley. Loch Ness. Without viewing the iconic Loch Ness, Scotland's largest loch, by volume, you can't leave the Scottish Highlands. The mythological, dinosaur-like monster known as Nessie has made Loch Ness famous all over the world. The lake is 23 miles long and 700 feet deep at its deepest point, adding credence to the Nessie conspiracy. In addition to the Nessie tale, Water Ness is known for its breathtaking beauty, with mountains covered in forest lining either side of the tranquil water. The majority of visitors opt to cruise Loch Ness to appreciate it. Ships leave from a number of the loch settlements, including Drumnadriaet, Inverness, and Fort Augustus. Offshore, there are numerous attractions and treks worth exploring. The 1,000-year-old Urquhart Castle, which is in ruins near the edge of Loch Ness in Drumnadriaet, is one of the most well-known sites. The Loch Ness Centre and Exhibition, a great place to learn more about the Nessie mythology, is also located near Drumnadriaet. There are many hiking trails in and around Loch Ness. The popular Fall of Foyers, the shores of Lake Ness, and hills with a view of the lake are all accessible via the nearly 3-mile Fall of Foyers walk. Try Neil Fuermonade, Loch Ness' highest hill, for a longer hike. Travelers can enjoy magnificent views of Loch Ness and the greater Great Glen region, which extends from Inverness to Fort William, from the summit of the hill after a nearly 6-mile hike. Ideal seasons to visit the Scottish Highlands. The Scottish Highlands are best visited between June and August. The Highlands are best explored during the summer, but because Scotland is so far north on the globe, don't anticipate a typically scorching summer. August, which is the hottest month in the nation, rarely sees highs above 70 degrees. The good news is that you never have to worry about the heat when hiking in the Highlands. The bad news is that you will always need to pack layers, regardless of the season you visit. Visiting in the cooler fall and spring months, if you don't mind the cold, can be advantageous, especially for your budget. Here, the winters are pretty harsh, and the only thing that makes them bearable is the rain, which is at its heaviest during the colder months. At terms of crowds, you may anticipate a sizable number of tourists at gateway cities, like Aviemore in the Cairngorms National Park, and photo-op locations, along the roads of Glencoe, during the summer. How to navigate the Scottish Highlands. The Scottish Highlands are best navigated by car. Many of the key attractions and desirable locations in the area are spread out far from one another and may be difficult to get to using public transit. You might prefer to explore the Highlands at your own leisure given the abundance of outdoor activities you will undoubtedly partake in. Stick to trains and buses if you don't feel comfortable driving on the left side of the road or don't want to pay the astronomical rates for auto rentals. Another option is to sign up for a guided tour of the Scottish Highlands to avoid having to figure out the route on your own. Fort William, Aviemore, and Inverness are among the gateway Highlands cities served by Scotland's well-connected railway. These cities are also served by buses, which can be more affordable than taking the train. It's crucial to be aware that routes start to become fewer and farther between in more remote places, particularly the northwest corner of the country, even if buses and trains will undoubtedly save you some money over time. Flying into Glasgow, GLA, or Edinburgh, EDI, international airports is the best method to get to the Scottish Highlands. From there, you may rent a car, take a rail, or a bus to the Highlands. Car. The best way to navigate the Scottish Highlands is to rent a car. In Scotland, major rental vehicle companies like Avis, Hertz, Enterprise, and Alamo are active. It's crucial to remember that gasoline costs more in the UK than they do in the US. It's also crucial to be aware of how few gas stations you'll find the further you go from major cities like Edinburgh and Glasgow. Additionally, it is common knowledge that gas stations in distant areas operate with shorter hours than those in major cities and are typically closed on Sundays. Train. The Scottish Highlands region is very accessible by train for such a remote area. Although there are other train companies that operate in Scotland, only ScotRail should be known to tourists. ScotRail travels to many of the key gateway cities for the Highlands, including Inverness, 13 miles north of Loch Ness, Fort William, 8 miles northwest of Ben Nevis, and Aviemore, located in the Cairngorms National Park. Bus. The most affordable way to move across the Scottish Highlands is by bus, or coach as the locals refer to it. There are several bus companies to pick from, including Scottish CityLink, National Express, and Stagecoach, but you should only be concerned with those two. Inverness, Skye, and Oban, which is 35 miles northwest of Loch Lomond and the Trossachs National Park, are prominent Highlands destinations served by Scottish CityLink, while more rural Highlands destinations are served by Stagecoach.